Is it on? Oh, perfect. Okay. I would like to call our Police Service Board meeting to order on this very first day of spring 2024. Woo-hoo. Little snow on the ground, nice for spring. Actually, it's melted. So if I could call the meeting to order, and I would like to introduce our guests today. I don't know if I call you guests. We have Chris Hogue, sorry, who is Administrative Sergeant, and we have Travis Parsons, who's Acting Sergeant of the OPP. So you will be hearing from them today. Do we have any peculiar interests?
None known.
None known here.
Perfect. Delegation? Nothing. Circulation of prior meetings minutes. Are there any things you'd like to see changed? Could I have a motion to approve them? Lou, seconded. Bev, all in favor? Motion carried. Any business arising from the minutes that we need to add? Okay. Council issues or correspondence? None. New business. If I could have your report, please. Chris, if you just want to tell everyone who you are.
Yeah, I'm Chris Hogue. I'm the Administrative Sergeant for Lambton County OPP. So I'm just going to kind of do a highlight through the report here. So we're looking at January, February of 2024. In January of 2024, we reported 3 motor vehicle collisions in Point Edward. All 3 of those were on city streets, Light Street, St. Clair Street, and Venetian Boulevard. All involving 2 motor vehicles, no injuries. One of them was actually 2 of them were entrances to parking lots. Vehicle slowed down to turn into a parking lot, was rear-ended by another vehicle.
I forgot to say
that's an increase over last year. Last year in 2023 in January, we had no collisions in Point Edward. If we look at our property crime numbers, well, violent crime, there was 0 in January of 2024. Property crimes, we reported 1 theft under 5,000 compared to 2 last year, and 1 mischief in 2024 compared to 2 last year. So both those categories were down. When we look at our drug crimes, we showed 0 occurrences, neither possession or trafficking, which is the same as last year. We look at your criminal record checks. We did 8 vulnerable sector checks compared to 10 last year. No public complaints for the month of January at all. When you look at our patrol activities, we had 195 hours of cruiser patrol, 7 hours of foot patrol, and 2 hours of school patrol in that month. When we look into February of 2024, motor vehicle collisions, we reported 1 property damage collision compared to 4 last year. Again, that was another one where a vehicle was turning into a parking lot, got rear-ended by another vehicle. I think you can attribute some of those reductions as well to the weather. We didn't have the weather that we would normally have in January and February, so that's a positive. When we look at violent crime, we had 1 assault in February of 2024, compared to 0 of last year. We also had 1 break and enter reported, 1 theft under 5,000 reported, 1 fraud reported, and 0 mischiefs. So those are pretty comparable to last year's numbers. Yep.
Just out of curiosity, what would be fraud?
You know what? I don't have that in front of me. I don't know the circumstances.
Because I'm just referring to telephone fraud. I just want to make sure they hear, that you're on top of it. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
The phone scam.
It is becoming a big issue.
It was on the radio the other day. They kept playing to beware of the scams, which I thought was good. It played a couple times on the radio.
Drug crime, we had 1 drug charge in February 2024. That was a possession charge. when you look at your criminal record checks, so year to date, we've had no non-vulnerable criminal checks and 9 criminal vulnerable checks. So a little bit lower than previous years. February 2024, again, no public complaints at all. And when you look at our patrol activities, 156.75 hours cruiser patrol, 10.5 hours of foot patrol, and 10.5 hours of school patrols. A lot of those school patrol hours were focus patrols around traffic issues around the schools. So
does that include any time in the school? Or?
It could. Yeah, our
right?
school resource officers, I know, did do a couple activities in Point Edward. False alarms. 17 in January, 12 in February. And you can see there from the addresses listed, there are repeat offenders. Albeit other than the Mara Street address, they don't go month to month. So, you know, there may have been an issue with the system, so we got a few and they were able to resolve that. I'm glad to see that we didn't see the same addresses month after month, because then obviously that becomes an issue for us. When we look at our community service officer and media officer, in the county of Lambton, there were 37 media releases in the month of January. 4 were specific to Point Edward. There were 30 in February and none specific to Point Edward. One of those media releases was in relation to a missing male party. That happened on January 29th, about 3:10 in the afternoon. A male party was reported missing by family members, which resulted in quite a police presence. We had 16 patrol units assigned to that call, plus our emergency response team and canine unit. And we had consulted with our aviation unit as far as getting a helicopter down. Thankfully, due to the public social media posts, the male was located several hours later in good health and returned to family members. We've also met with the family to put some safety measures in place so that if this person does walk off again, that hopefully we can locate them quicker. School resource officers. So you'll notice in January of 2024, specific to Point Edward, they investigated an incident where a 15-year-old male was assaulted on a school bus by a 17-year-old male. That male was charged and was then diverted. In February, there's 2 incidents specific to Point Edward. A 17-year-old female was arrested and charged with assault. That was in relation to a domestic occurrence. And a 14 and 15-year-old were caught doing drugs in the bathroom of a local business. The 15-year-old was charged with possession of methamphetamine and cocaine. And the 14-year-old was diverted to Sarnia-Lambton Rebound Program. When we look at our crime unit activity, we investigated 3 sudden deaths in Point Edward over the 2-month period. None of those were deemed suspicious. They were all natural causes. And the crime unit also investigated the theft of a $50,000 drone from CBSA. The street crimes unit, they assisted Sarnia Police Service with an extortion case, which brought them to Point Edward because of the casino. Physical surveillance was conducted on that, and the party was arrested. There were 2 break-and-enters to storage facilities reported. Those were investigated by uniform members. And then obviously the drug investigation at the CAS building with the 2 youths. Traffic related for the 2-month period, there were 14 ride programs conducted in the village of Point Edward. 27 traffic enforcement occurrences created. Those traffic enforcement occurrences resulted in 50 provincial offense notices being issued, 6 Part 3 summonses, and 63 warnings for traffic offenses.
Is that a high number?
Not
No,
really.
Pretty common, pretty.
That's
standard?
pretty standard. I know we have increased our activities a little bit on the 402 in preparation for the upcoming construction. Trying to emphasize the fact that that reduced 70 zone is there for a reason, that there quite often is stop traffic beyond that point. So we've done some added enforcement there.
What I find interesting is the 63 warning tickets. Like they weren't given a ticket, they were told, hey, smarten up. Thank you.
And that was for a number of offenses. I looked at them this morning. That was everything from expired validations. We are seeing a ton of those right now.
Because you don't know.
People aren't clear because the government eliminated the need to go get your sticker for your license plate, but you still have to renew the validation on the physical vehicle permit. So a lot of people don't realize that. So now that all of our vehicles have the automatic license plate readers, we are hitting on every one of those vehicles when they go past us. So we do give a lot of warnings. I think there's a little bit of leeway there because of the fact people are honestly confused. They don't realize. But there were other warnings, everything from dirty license plates to no insurance cards to a variety of different things. So often you might issue one ticket to a driver, but then you'll have several other things that are wrong that you'll give them warnings for. So
Media releases. I'm not sure who would be doing it, but do you think it would be a good idea to do a media release about the licenses and the renewals again? I mean, I know people have heard it, but
I can certainly, talk to our media officer and see. I know it's been all over our social media from West Region. Just saying that, you have to get your permits validated.
Check and see.
Yeah, and it can be done online and there's no charge for it.
Yeah.
It's free.
Can we put that on the village site as well, or maybe send out one of those things, the constant contacts, just to remind people, because that might help as well, at least in Point Edward. Lou?
Since we're talking about media and advising the citizens, can we come up with some sort of game plan for the bridge? Because that's 5 months of hell for everyone, especially local citizens who try to cut through and use the, and then we've got St. Clair under construction. That will compound the issue for a lot of, I'm going to say vagrant traffic. People knowing that that's there, thinking it's open, and then they run into construction, which has a lot more, how should I say?
Congestion?
No, confusion.
Well, yeah.
And
the other thing
anger.
The other thing I find confuses people is, you're right, they take a shortcut, but then they don't realize that the Federal Bridge Corporation closes Front Street. So they come to Front Street and the gates are closed. And now they don't know how to get back onto the 402 to get across the border.
And they have to probably go past.
Well, they'd have to go back to Christina. And when you're talking commercial vehicle traffic, there's a lot of areas that are prohibited in both the village and the city. So that compounds issues. I know we have talked to in the past to Sarnia Police Service about potentially increasing enforcement on Michigan, because that tends to be the route that the trucks take. They get off at Modeland, they go up to Michigan and then come across and try and get on at Front Street.
And Sarnia Police is doing that because last time I wrote the note, they had said that they were upping patrol with the bridge and they had given a list of how many vehicles they'd stopped and issued tickets to.
What's that AM station for the bridge and traffic? And we put something on there that Front Street entrance is closed when it's closed. And we, just another arrow in our quiver type of thing.
Mhm.
Because,
If-
you know, even if 10 people listen to it and 3 people, that's 3 less people take it.
Well, we meet with Joe once a month, Jim and I. So the conversation will be, we can follow up with them because
Thank
they
you.
Obviously, like they've been planning for a while.
But you see what I'm getting
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
Let's be proactive as
Yeah.
opposed to reactive.
Well,
The other thing that
It's,
would-
you know, it's
I know he's
hard.
already working on it, but
The other-
we can ask.
The other thing that could help is if that Front Street exit wasn't for trucks, if it was just for vehicles. And then,
It's still no good.
but they got an inside lane that's supposed to be the local lane, and if that lane's open, then that's
But
gonna
people-
cut back traffic.
Especially during construction.
If it does what it's supposed to do, and if people aren't going on that aren't supposed to be on there, then it should be
That
doing what
lane
it's
should
supposed to do.
actually- Originally, back in 94, 95, that lane that you're talking about should have been the lane that's off of Sinclair.
Right,
That was supposed to be for the village, and that there was supposed to be a separate lane just for them to get up. Because during the construction, they were very kind to the bridge.
Yep.
So that was supposed to be a dedicated lane. Then the next administration came and they changed everything.
but even if they left the one open instead of closing it all the time, it would help the vehicles, the local cars. Anyway, that's a bridge issue, and if you're talking to them, if you can just
Yep.
reiterate that
Yep.
if we can make it as easy as we possibly can, more signs, making sure the signs say what they're supposed to say, radio, anything that we can
Any
put out
clip-
there, anything that we can put out there, and maybe again, a reminder on the village page about what's happening.
And also on the bridge page, on the VWVA
Yeah.
page.
And if you want, I can send a note over to, or do you guys, do you want to talk to the Sarnia Police specifically, or do you want me to send a note to their chair of their police service board, or about the traffic truck arounds, or?
It doesn't matter. I've got, actually, I have a meeting next week with the Ministry of Transport regarding some potential joint enforcement, so I can certainly reach out to Sarnia.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would be good. Again, I just think anything that we can do to just advise people and make it so that it's not horrible, it's better. We want to save lives. We want to make it as easy as we possibly can for everyone, and we want to make your
Yeah.
job a little easier if we can.
Simply facilitate the ease of traffic.
Exactly. Are there any other questions?
I just want not to backtrack, but I was waiting till the end. What do you think about these false alarms? Should we be doing some kind of action to them? Like, I know in the past we've made a call and, you know, for the repeat offenders, but there's always been an explanation. For example, the one on Kendall Street, they say it's because they change personnel a lot, and then people get mixed up with the security codes. And I mean, I don't know what to say. Just that's a big increase.
Maybe just send them a letter.
That's a municipal thing.
Yeah.
That would be up to the
Yeah.
municipality.
Because I mean, you're having to make personal appearances, so it's a lot of time. And some of these are not businesses.
Yeah, I mean,
Guessing, it's guessing, right? Like with that one there.
yeah, but it's a one-time thing.
Yeah, it's a
right?
one-time thing, yeah.
You're not gonna get too worked up about a one-time thing.
And so
It's
the
the-
Light Street is,
What I would be more concerned about is if over like a 6-month period, you start to see the same address every month,
well,
then I think
Okay.
there's an issue. Either there's an alarm system that's not functioning properly and they're not getting it repaired, or
keep,
if it's a staffing issue,
keep
then
this and compare it to the
to the next
next
one
one.
and
And start
see if you start to see a
picking up
pattern.
some comments,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Any other questions?
Sorry, just one more thing. As an example, one that we used to get all the time was from the bridge. There's not one call on here that's from the bridge. They used to have a problem with them, you know, dial 9 to get out.
There's one on page 17. If that's the bridge.
1400 there.
Are they 1400 Venetian?
Oh, I didn't know where that was.
Is that the bridge?
Building 1400? Yeah.
Oh, so it's not the
It's
bridge.
just the wrong side of the road.
Okay,
So anyway.
Where's the?
they sent a note to their staff reminding them to be
Yeah.
careful, and no, there's not one call on here from them, so.
so maybe just send a letter back.
Yeah.
Yeah. One question that I have about, we have that new speed sign on Michigan Ave.
Mhm.
How's that working? Have we had feedback? Do we
We had one email, in response, saying, you know, we appreciated it and it was good. And
Yeah, I mean,
Well, you can see cars going and you can see them slowing
Yeah, I
down,
know.
right? Like you watch, but it's good, right? Like that's what you want. You want people slowing down as they're driving through our village.
Yeah.
it's the same as when we had the portable one. You could see the braking as they approached it. But it's a reminder.
And then does it tallying results as well in there?
I
Not right now.
believe it's doing it, but we haven't
Pulled it off yet?
hooked into it. So
Okay.
It's Bluetooth. You have to figure out how to
Yeah.
stop.
I just love when it goes green and says, thank you.
Yeah.
So those silly things.
Every time I drive, it says green and thank you.
And
Yeah,
it's,
right.
it can be moved, but I don't know how often we'll move it, but they're portable.
Perfect. Well, it was good to see that up. Yeah. So thank you. Now next question. Since there were like 4 car accidents with people rear-ending, do you think that we should put a reminder out to people for using their signal lights? I don't know, because I find, again, use your signal light, people, and you find so many people who don't use their signal light. It's simple. Use your signal lights, and then people behind you know what you're doing. I don't know. Maybe stick it on your note that you're sending out. Please use your signal lights.
And then the other thing, keep in mind to, at some time maybe do an email or some kind of information circular about the fraud stuff. Just as a reminder, just keep on the grandparents fraud and
Maybe if we do one with police things that goes out in the village, and then I would also put the lock it or lose it because we're coming into the lock it or lose it
Yeah.
season. So if we do like 4 tabs, you know, proper vehicle thing, use your signal light, watch your speeds. And then the other ones, put them all on there, and then it goes out to everybody, and it's just a reminder, right? Little pro, it doesn't hurt to read what you should be doing,
there
right?
was a picture on Facebook of, I think it was the end of Victoria, a body going around checking vehicles to see if they're open the other night. What could the weather too was when it's warmer, they start coming out. And
Well, think about what you do. One lost car, one car that forgets to lock, there's $20. Another car, 20, right? Anyway, shouldn't happen, but it does. Well, thank you. Anything else you want to add?
Well, that's it.
Well, thank you, Chris.
Question as we talk about spring bike rodeo, would we be doing something like that this year again?
I don't know if anything's planned, but I can certainly find out.
I think sometimes it's been May and sometimes it's been
September.
September.
And last year we did it in September.
That was with the Optimists?
Yes.
Yeah,
No, yeah.
that's always so well received and it's a good event.
It is good.
Also look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, slow roll.
That's what we're just talking
Oh,
about.
I just thought of that. It starts at Centennial Park, I believe. I signed up for it. It starts at Centennial and then comes down into the village.
When is that?
June 9th.
Up Michigan Avenue.
Michigan to Livingston and over to Victoria. Up Victoria to Front Street, and then they're gonna pool at Front Street, get everybody back together, and then get out of the village. Head up.
Didn't they say they expected about 2 hours?
The whole thing should
Yeah.
be done in 2 hours, so it should only
Yeah.
affect us for 45 minutes or so.
Are they doing the same route as last year, like up Venetian?
Up Venetian, around Alexandra, onto Michigan, up Livingston to Victoria, all the way down Victoria to Front, and then they're gonna,
Yep.
everybody gathers again, and then back out Michigan and over to Colburn. So a little bit different. Last year,
Yeah, because last year Colburn was under construction,
Yeah.
so.
they came all the way up
Right.
Front Street and then back up St. Clair, which is not a good idea this year.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
it's a bit different.
Two dates for you guys to remember as well. July 20th is Mackinac. And Rotary Club has a pancake breakfast on the Saturday. I am not sure
Yes.
our Optimist doing there.
No. Oh, I thought you were gonna talk, but the other one is the group that's raising money for the homeless and housing support
Yes.
are doing a larger,
So there's
event this
2
year.
breakfasts on the 20th. The one is on the north side of the bridge, and that's the regular Mackinac pancake breakfast. The one's on the south side of the bridge, just north of the casino, and that's the VIP breakfast. And they're going to have police and firefighters and first responders and the first hussars, and they're going to have horses and
They had tanks.
They're hoping to get the Remax balloon and all kinds of stuff there. So there will be increased military presence in Point Edward, as well as first responder stuff that they're hoping kids can climb through the ambulances and, you know, do all that sort of stuff. So just so you guys are aware of that, and they'll probably, someone from the OPP is probably working with them about what they're doing there. Also, Mother's Day in the village of Point Edward, we always do a village-wide garage sale on the Saturday of Mother's Day weekend. And so there is increased traffic in Point Edward on that day. So those are 2 days that I can think of just off the top of your head where there's kind of special events going on.
The difference too with the Mackinac group is they're expanding it to have a public area.
Yes.
So they had the breakfast last year that was closed with the tickets, but they're gonna have a larger presence for the public and vendors. So the group of vendors, and they're going to be in little huts.
It's gonna be really cool.
And then they're gonna raffle off the huts at the end, like you could use it for your backyard garden. That's one of their plans for fundraising.
So their breakfast is going from 10 to 11:30. At 11:30, they're going to open the gates to the public. There'll be an admission fee charged to get in, and then they're going to have a bunch of their garden sheds. They're going to be built by local construction, Lambton College, local students, and then they're going to auction them off. They're going to be painted bright colors, and they're going to try to make it look a little bit like the Newfoundland sheds. And then so people can buy tickets, and they're going to auction off the sheds after. So, but there's going to be all kinds of restaurants and stuff set up there. So once the one breakfast is over, if you're not at the VIP breakfast, you can take your family and go over there and spend the day looking at all the stuff. So trying to make it a full day of stuff. And that one, the proceeds go to affordable housing through the Rotary Club, and Sarnia Community Foundation and the First Desires are involved as well. So. Okay, are there any other questions? Perfect. Do I need a motion to approve his report? Could I have a motion to perfect?
Just to receive and file.
To receive and file. Perfect. All in favor? Great. Financial statements. Are there any questions on the financial statements as presented?
Not for me.
Okay, could I get a motion to approve the financial statements?
Receive and file.
Receive and file. Lou, Bev.
Second.
Perfect. All in favor? Next meeting date.
May 30th.
May 30.
Yeah. 9 a.m. I'll send an invite out to Rick. Sure.
Perfect. Yeah. Anything else before I adjourn the meeting? Could I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So move.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Carried. Awesome.